The top stories tonight in Y News. Fully vaccinated Americans can now gather with other vaccinated people indoors without wearing a mask or social distancing, according to U.S. health officials.
Some 4 million Filipinos remain jobless in January despite the government's efforts to reopen the economy.
The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology of PHIVOLCS raises the alert level 2 status of Taal Volcano. Malacanang has challenged Vice President Leni Robredo to show evidence of the alleged massacre in Calabarzon raid.
The Philippine National Police forms a task group to probe the killing of Calbayog City Mayor Ronald Aquino in an alleged misencounter.
And Swedish scientists transform old clothes into sugar. Good evening, Philippines and the world. We are now live from Quezon Avenue in Quezon City. Today is Tuesday, March 9, 2021. I am Harleen Delgado.
Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the country and in other parts of the world. I'm Angelo Castro III.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media account and our website, untvweb.com. I am William Theo.
First in the news. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention released new guidelines for fully vaccinated people in the country, saying that they can gather together without wearing a mask. Judith Ann Nofuente will tell us why.
People are considered fully vaccinated and protected for COVID-19 2 weeks after they take the final dose of their vaccine, according to the new guidelines released by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, Monday. U.S. health officials say that fully vaccinated Americans can gather together without wearing a mask or social distancing. Likewise, they may be able to visit unvaccinated people from a single household who are at low risk for severe COVID-19 disease and may also refrain from quarantine and testing following a known exposure if asymptomatic. This comes as more adults have been wondering if they can visit family members or do other things like before the coronavirus pandemic swept the world.
The recommendations issued today are just a first step. As more people get vaccinated and the science and evidence expands, and as the disease dynamics of this country change, we will continue to update this guidance.
CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky says that not everyone is fully vaccinated yet, and that people must continue to adhere with health and safety precautions, whether vaccinated or not.
And still over 90% of our population is not fully vaccinated, though we are working hard to get there. Therefore, everyone, whether vaccinated or not, should continue to avoid medium and large-size gatherings, as well as non-essential travel, and when in public spaces, should continue to wear a well-fitted mask, physically distance, and follow other public health measures to protect themselves as others.
The agency reports about 28 million cases and over 523,000 deaths in the country, while only about 31 million people in the country have been fully vaccinated so far. Judith Ann Nofuente, UNTV News and Rescue, USA. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Philippine Statistics Authority reported that the unemployment rate in the country spikes to 4 million in January this year. This despite the government's move to slightly reopen the economy. Joe Adano tells us why.
Due to the intense impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the country's economy, as businesses are only allowed to operate to a very limited capacity, while some did not survive and opt to close their operations. The country's unemployment rate, a source to 4 million, recorded in January of this year, based on the recent labor force survey conducted by the Philippine Statistics Authority. This is higher than the 3.8 million unemployed in October 2020 and the 2.4 million in January 2020. The January 2021 figure translates to an unemployment rate of 8.7% as businesses struggle to open amid the coronavirus pandemic. According to PSA, the highest unemployment rate was reported in Calabarzon region, peaking at 13.1%, while Zamboanga Peninsula has recorded the lowest rate at 3.56%. And since the country is again experiencing increasing number of COVID-19 cases recently, PSA says that this may worsen the country's unemployment rate.
Based on our observation noong April 2020, ay talagang mababa yung ating labor force participation. April 2020, ang labor force participation natin ay nasa 55.7% lamang at sabi ko nga, ito ang pinakamababa. So may impact talaga kung mayroon tayong lockdown.
Meanwhile, Malacanang says that the government is doing all their best to help the Filipinos to get back to their work as the interagency task force allows the opening of several businesses and establishments to revive the economy. They are also considering to expand the age restrictions, increasing the capacity on public transportation, as well as providing recovery packages to small and medium enterprises under the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act 1 and 2.
Sabi naman po ng Pangulo, magsimula lang ang pagbabakuna at makonvince lang siya na marami-rami nang nababakunahan, talagang tuluyan na niyang bubuksan ang ekonomiya. Pagbubukas po talaga ng ekonomiya ang solusyon para magkaroon po ng mas maraming trabaho sa ating lipunan.
Despite of these efforts, the government again reiterates the importance to balance health and economy in bringing back more employment to Filipinos. Joanna, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, the Department of the Interior and Local Government, or DILG, has directed all local government units and the Philippine National Police to crack down on quarantine violators and intensify the enforcement of health protocols amid the increasing number of COVID-19 cases in the country. Marvin Calas reports.
A year have passed since the Department of Health implemented the use of face masks due to the coronavirus disease. But until now, many are not able to comply. The Department of Interior and Local Government persuaded the local government units to make strict resolutions to battle the rising COVID-19 cases in the country, one of which is the implementation of an ordinance and the corresponding penalties. DILG Undersecretary Jonathan Malaya highlighted that until now, few LGUs are not implementing ordinances as well as penalties accordingly.
Mahirap po kasi ang isang ordinansa na walang penalty dahil wala po itong ngipin, kumbaga, no? Parang nanghihikayat lang po tayo. Alam niyo naman po ang ating mga kababayan, kung wala pong risk of punishment, ay hindi po sila sumusunod sa mga alituntunin ng ating pamahalaan.
The DILG had given directives to the Philippine National Police on deploying additional personnel, particularly in Metro Manila, for the implementation of minimum health protocols in hotspot areas such as Pasay, Navotas, and Malabon. Undersecretary Malaya also clarified the issue on the easing of travel requirements, or the Resolution Number 101, that accordingly contradicts the department's scheme to lower the country's COVID-19 cases.
Sa ngayon po, since ang mga kaso po natin ay nasa level pa naman na controlled pa, ay pinapatupad po ng DILG yung latest IATF resolution. Pero kung sakali po na sabihin ng Department of Health at irekomenda nila sa IATF na ibalik muli yung mga restrictions on travel, like ibalik ang travel authority at ang medical clearance, ay susunod naman po ang DILG.
Currently, tighter quarantine protocols in the country remains amid the government's ongoing vaccination program over COVID-19. Marvin Calas, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The World Health Organization does not recommend relaxing the health protocols amid the ongoing inoculation in the country. According to the WHO, the Philippines has to learn from the experiences of other countries that first had their COVID-19 inoculation. Aiko Miguel explains why.
Each country has to maintain the strict implementation of health protocols along with the ongoing inoculation of COVID-19 vaccines. According to World Health Organization Country Representative Dr. Rabindra Abeyasinghe, vaccination alone cannot give enough protection against the transmissible COVID-19.
Yes, we need to make every effort to roll out the vaccines as quickly as possible and vaccinate as large a proportion of the population in a very impactful manner according to the prioritization list that we've described. But that also needs to be accompanied by continuing adherence of the protocols, because if we don't do that, we've seen surges in countries as they rolled out the vaccines. So let's learn from that global experience and not make the same mistake.
It is also noticeable that cases in the country have been prominently rising to more than 3,000 cases daily since weekend. But according to WHO, this cannot be attributed to the community transmission brought by COVID-19 variants first discovered in United Kingdom and South Africa.
We believe that it's not entirely being driven by the new variants because the number of cases detected and confirmed as opposed to the number of samples checked is limited. And so we still believe that there is an opportunity to strengthen our preventive protocols and ensure that we don't see a continued rise of transmission within the NCR.
Dr. Abeyasinghe also emphasized the importance of getting protected against COVID-19 through inoculation so transmission could also be prevented and cases decline. Dr. Abeyasinghe gave Israel as an example among the countries that had a decline on severe COVID-19 infection cases and death cases because of the inoculation of their citizens.
We do see the impact of the vaccines in countries like Israel, where they've vaccinated a very high proportion of the elderly and comorbid and of course the healthcare workers. They are showing more than a 90% decline in severe disease and deaths following 2 doses of vaccination. So this is an important lesson for us to learn and probably duplicate in other countries as we roll out the vaccines according to the prioritization.
Based on WHO's assessment, number of healthcare workers getting inoculated increased as different vaccine brands arrive in the country. 4.5 million doses of AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccines and 117,000 doses of Pfizer-BioNTech vaccines are expected to be delivered in the country next month from the COVAX facility. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
A Senate panel has urged the Department of Agriculture to recommend to President Rodrigo Duterte to declare state of emergency due to the ongoing effects of African swine fever in the country's pork supply. Arlene Delgado will tell us why.
Amid problems on the country's pork supply, some senators are seeking for a declaration of state of emergency with the continuous threat of the African swine fever. According to the Department of Agriculture, the fight against ASF is not yet over, as a new variant has been found in China. Senator Francis Pangilinan initially moved to urge the department to recommend to the president the declaration in Luzon, but the National Federation of Hog Farmers requested to include Visayas and Mindanao as well.
Kasi ngayon, ang computation natin, 50+ billion na, hindi ba? Ang danyos sa industriya. Dapang-dapa ang Luzon. So dapat merong talagang ilalabas na funding and support because of the emergency.
According to Senate Committee on Agriculture Chairperson Cynthia Villar, this will enable the release of a quick response fund to address the problem. Pangilinan added that the pork import tariffs can also be used as financial aid to affected hog raisers. The Pork Producers Federation of the Philippines meanwhile suggested to include an indemnification fund for hog raisers who will be greatly affected by the ASF.
Yung pong mga backyard raisers, commercial raisers, sabay-sabay pong mag-aalaga, babalik po yan. Kasi meron pong guarantee na hindi sila mababankrupt in case na tumahan sila ng African swine fever. Yan po matagal na natin hinihingi.
Yun ang sinasabi ko sa kanila na yung calling, dapat babayaran nyo kasi hindi ipupuslit nila pag hindi nyo binayaran kasi mahihirap sila Backyard farmers yan
The department says it will follow the recommendation of the Senate panel.
We submit and we appreciate that and we will follow. But I will just harmonize the statement made a while ago by Sir Briones. Once, buti na lang po, meron pong indemnification when this happened.
Mabagal nga, mabagal.
Ano lang po, sa backyard lang po naka-dedicate. So with this one, Madam Chair, we really appreciate it.
As of last month, the ASF is still present in more than 2,000 barangays and 40 provinces, affecting over 68,000 hog raisers. The DA aims to release 90% or 2,100 of ASF-affected barangays from quarantine by 2023. The department adds it will be needing a supplemental budget worth 6 billion pesos to implement its repopulation program. Based on their projections, it would take a minimum of 3 years for the swine production industry to fully recover. Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Department of Agriculture Secretary William Dar said that despite the suggestions of some stakeholders, the price ceiling on pork and chicken products in Metro Manila will remain in effect until April 8 as prescribed by Executive Order 124. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
Pork vendors in Commonwealth Market admitted that they are not following the price ceiling imposed by the government. This is due to the high price from the hog raisers. Prevailing prices at the market is at 300 to 330 pesos per kilogram as compared to the 270 to 300 price ceiling. Vendors are asking to increase the price cap to 330 to 360 provided that hog raisers will not increase their prices.
Sa ngayon po nakakapagbigay pa kami ng 290, hindi ko lang per kilo sa kasim. 310 sa lempo, ngunit hindi namin alam kung hanggang kailan tatagal yun. Kasi ang alam po namin, yung mga parating next week at this week, magtataas ulit po sila because of the expenses.
The Department of Agriculture said they will maintain the price ceiling on pork and chicken until the Executive Order 124 lapsed on April 8. Agriculture Secretary William Dar said price ceiling has undeniably contributed to taming the price surge of said two main food items, benefiting millions of Filipino consumers. On the suggestion of hog raisers to raise the price ceiling, he said it would be a redundant measure given that actual average pork and chicken prices are higher than the ceiling imposed by EO 124. Meanwhile, prices of some vegetables dropped by half compared when supply was affected by the tropical cyclones. In Commonwealth Market, a kilo of cabbage costs 70 pesos per kilogram, 84 carrots, 74 potato, and 34 chayote. However, vendors complain of low sales.
Wala po kasi kami ngayon ng mga suki na catering, yung mga sa school na ng canteen, wala po. Kaya po matumal. Marami po kasing nawalan ng trabaho.
Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
For those watching us on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook. The Philippine Volcanology and Seismology Institute has raised the Taal Volcano status to alert level 2. With this alert level in place, there is still no need for evacuation. Nonetheless, residents near the volcano say they are ready to leave their homes if need be. Nina Armilio reports why.
The Philippine Volcanology and Seismology Institute, or PHIVOLCS, raised the Taal Volcano status to alert level 2 today. This increased from alert level 1 to alert level 2 is due to a number of volcanic earthquakes since February 13, changes in the main crater lake, ground deformation, and development of the volcano's microgravity. With alert level 2 in place, evacuation is not yet necessary, according to PHIVOLCS. However, residents near the Taal Volcano are prepared to evacuate and leave their homes should there be a need to do so. According to Michael Isla, they fear that the volcano could erupt anytime. Their hope is in God's protection.
Gaya pa rin ng dati kung ano yung ginawa namin paghahanda, na hindi naman kami nga sasabihin mong natataranta. Doon pa rin kami sa dating dinaanan namin kung saan kami nung kasama ko yung mga anak ko, pati yung mga relatives ng aking asawa. Ang katiwiran ko nga, may Diyos na gagabay at hindi naman niya ipahintulot siguro na kami masaktan o mapahamak.
Taal Volcano has also been showing magmatic activities which may or may not lead to an eruption.
Nag-class po tayo ng alert level sa Taal Volcano from alert level number 1 to alert level number 2. Ibig sabihin na increasing unrest. Sa kadahilan ng patuloy po ang pagkakaroon ng mga volcanic tremor na itatala natin na mga 1.5 kilometers sa shallower sa ilalim mismo ng Taal Volcano Island. Patuloy din po yung pamamaga ng vulkan at buong paligid nito, pero hindi naman ito kasing lakas ng pamamaga sa noong January 2020.
Residents may contact the City and Municipal Disaster Risk Reduction Office for assistance through the Batangas local DRRMO hotlines. Meanwhile, authorities have apprehended a couple and their companions who have gone to the Taal Volcano Island, which has been declared a permanent danger zone. Nina Armilio, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
A Department of Justice-led task force is conducting a vetting process to determine if the deadly Calabarzon raids fall under its jurisdiction. Meanwhile, Malacanang dared Vice President Leni Robredo to show evidence that the police operations was a massacre. Rosalie Cos explains why.
The Department of Justice will determine whether or not the Calabarzon raids last Sunday, which lead to the killings of 9 activists, are covered by the Administrative Order No. 35. Under AO 35, an interagency committee is created to investigate on extrajudicial killings, enforce disappearances, torture, and other grave violations of human rights. Otherwise, the matter will be referred to the law enforcement agencies like the Philippine National Police. The DOJ hopes to release its initial findings within 2 days.
Nag-umpisa na ho ang aming investigation and maybe yung aming preliminary findings so siguro within the week or maybe even in the next 2 days, in the next 24 to 48 hours.
Meanwhile, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque dares Vice President Leni Robredo to show evidence if she personally witnessed the police operations in various areas in Calabarzon. VP Robredo condemned the massacre of the 9 activists and called for an impartial probe into the killings. She also said it came 2 days after President Rodrigo Duterte himself ordered the state forces to kill the armed communist rebels and ignore human rights. But according to Malacanang, everyone should wait for the result of the investigation.
Ang pananalita niya parang nakita ng dalawa niyang mata kung ano nangyari doon sa mga patayan na yon, no? Pag hindi siya nagbigay ng ebidensya, kasalanan din po yan, baka siyang makasuhan, no? Kung hindi niya nakita ang pangyayari, gaya ng presidente at gaya ng sambayan ng Pilipino, mag-antay ng resulta ng investigasyon. Dahil, naku, abogado pa naman po tayo pare-pareho, no? It's an issue of fact.
The palace official once again said the vice president is wrong. VP Robredo also called on the public to prepare to stand and speak up for those who believe in good governance, freedom, and democracy.
So kung ano man ang conclusion ni Vice President Robredo, kung wala siya doon sa mga pangyayaring yon, as usual, laging mali ang ating Vice President.
Roque cautioned Robredo that she might face charges if she does not cooperate with authorities in case she really witnessed the incident. Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Petitioners of the Anti-Terrorism Act expressed their worries on the possible effect of President Rodrigo Duterte's shoot and kill order against armed communist guerrillas during encounters. Dante Amento tells us why.
National Security Advisor Secretary Hermogenes Esperon confirmed President Rodrigo Duterte's directive to kill all members of the rebel groups such as the Communist Party of the Philippines, New People's Army or CPP-NPA.
Tama yan dahil lalo na pag nakita na natin silang may dalang armas,
ano pa nga ba yun? Dahil kung hindi mo naman babarilin ka agad, ay ikaw naman ang mababaril. In the name of peace, law, and order, ay binitawan na nga ni Pangulo ulit ang shoot-to-kill orders against the armed CPP-NPA.
Thus, petitioners of the Anti-Terror Act believe that the recent police operations which resulted to the death of 9 activists in Calabarzon over the weekend had something to do with the president's order. Attorney Antonio Lavinia says it has similar effect to the anti-drug war of the Duterte administration that killed thousands of alleged illegal drug suspects.
Self-fulfilling statements. Because, di ba, it's the same statement. Patayin niyo sila lahat. Akong bahala sa inyo. Ako ang liable, hindi kayo.
The ATA petitioners have submitted a new adjoint and reiterative motion urging the Supreme Court to issue a temporary restraining order for the implementation of the law. They have also appealed to the High Court to review the guidelines in search warrant application before an issuance by a judge.
Ang mga judges dapat, lahat ng judges na nag-issue ng search warrant, dapat may record kayo ng application at yung pagtanong nyo sa mga witness ng pulis na nag-apply kung totoo nga ba o haka-haka o gawa-gawa ang pag-apply ng search warrant.
The Supreme Court will have to require the law enforcers to use body cameras in serving search warrants to avoid possible irregularities.
Kasi ang lumalabas ngayon, palagi ang kanilang kwento ng laban, kaya nagkaroon ng namatay, no? May nabaril sila dahil daw ng laban.
The anti-terror law petitioners believe that even law professionals are now under attack, and it proves that ordinary people are not safe for the chilling effect of the law. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Philippine National Police created a special investigation task group to probe the deaths of Calbayog City Mayor Ronald Aquino and 2 bodyguards yesterday. The PNP has yet to conclude if the incident was a misencounter. Leah Ilagan explains why.
Details on the killing of Calbayog City Mayor Ronaldo Aquino is still sketchy according to the Philippine National Police. That's why they created the SITG Aquino to investigate the incident thoroughly. The team will be headed by Region 8 Deputy Regional Director for Operations, Colonel Edwin Wagan. In a statement released by the PNP Public Information Office, it is stated that the PNP personnel from the IMEG and Provincial Drug Enforcement Unit is conducting a red teaming inspection on the operational readiness of the PNP unit in the area. There was an exchange of gunfire between the two groups that resulted to the casualties on both sides, including Mayor Aquino. The PNP also said all the firearms will be subjected to forensic examination. The PNP adds the group of Mayor Aquino allegedly initiated the shootout when his close-in security fired at the unmarked vehicles of the IMEG PDEU group. The IMEG PDEU group denies that Mayor Aquino was the subject of their operation, but the PNP Internal Affairs Service launched a motu proprio investigation on the alleged involvement of the PNP personnel on the killings of Mayor Aquino.
So papasok po yung IAS kasi sa mandate, meron silang automatic motu proprio investigation in case there is a death, injury on violation of human rights occurred during the conduct of police operation.
Attorney Triambulo will also look into the legitimacy of the operation because the police involved is said to be wearing a bonnet.
Ayon po sa police official procedure, sila po ay may mga requirements po, dapat sila ay naka-uniform. Hindi po sanction po yung mga naka-bonnet, no? Sa mga isang legitimate operation.
Leah Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Malacanang condemned the ambush that killed Calbayog City Mayor Ronald Aquino and his security aides in Tacloban City. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said the palace is alarmed by the ambush sleigh in Calbayog City. He raised the possibility that the local official might be a victim of election-related violence.
Kinukondena po natin yan dahil ang karapatang mabuhay po ay pinaka-importanting karapatan. No? At nanunumbalik po kami at naaalarma na dahil isang mayor pong pinatay, baka ito'y simula na naman ng patayan dahil sa politika sa panahon na papalapit na ang eleksyon.
The total number of COVID-19 cases in the country has reached the 600,000 mark today. The case bulletin of the Department of Health show that there are now a total of 600,428 COVID-19 cases after it reported 2,668 new cases. There remain 41,822 active COVID-19 cases in the country. Of the active cases, 91.6% are mild cases, 3.9% are asymptomatic cases, 1.9% are severe cases, 1.8% are critical cases, and 0.80% are moderate cases. The DOH also reported 171 new recoveries and 7 new deaths. Total COVID-19 recoveries is now at 546,078, while total deaths is now at 12,528.
The Manila city government places areas with at least 10 COVID-19 cases under lockdown. Asher Cadapan Jr. tells us why live. Yes, Asher?
Arlene, Manila City Mayor Francisco Esco Moreno de Magosa announces today that he will implement a 4-day lockdown in specific areas to protect everyone with regard to health issues as COVID-19 cases continue to rise in the city. As a preventive measure, Mayor de Magosa issued an executive order to place any barangay or establishments under lockdown with at least 10 cases of COVID-19.
Ingatan ninyo ang inyong impeksyon sa inyong barangay. Kundi wala kaming magagawa kundi proteksyonan yung katabi ninyong barangay, yung katabi ninyong community kapag kayo ay nagpapabaya sa inyong iskinita, kalsada, kalye at boulevard, or even condominium units or high-rise.
With this, 2 barangays and 2 establishments will initially be placed under lockdown, particularly the entire Barangay 351 in San Lazaro, Tayuman, and Barangay 752 in Malate, while partial lockdown will be implemented in Manila Bayview Mansion and Hop Inn Hotel. The lockdown will be effective on Thursday, March 11, starting at 12:01 a.m. until Sunday, March 14 at 11:59 p.m. The Magoso explains that this will give the affected residents ample time to buy their needs, particularly food and other essentials. The local chief executive, however, assures that those under lockdown will receive supply of food from the LGU. Only authorized persons outside of residence will be allowed to go out of their home. These include health workers, military personnel, service workers, utility workers, essential workers, barangay officials, and media practitioners accredited by the Presidential Communications Operations Office and the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases.
Lahat po ng lalabas na hindi kasali sa mga pinapayagan ay lalagay po namin kayo sa aming quarantine facility ng 14 days. Kasi you are exposing others sa day.
Meanwhile, the Manila Health Department recommends the barangays under lockdown to be declared as critical zones where enhanced community quarantine guidelines will be implemented. Arlene, based on the latest record of the Manila Health Department, the new active cases of COVID-19 in the city now reaches to 154. Arlene?
Thank you, Asher Cadapan Jr. reporting live. Starting tonight, the local government of Caloocan will implement a stricter COVID-19 health protocol. This includes an extended curfew hour and color-coded quarantine passes. JP Nunez will give us the details live. Yes, JP.
Harleen, Caloocan City Mayor Oscar Malapitan ordered the reimposition of curfew hours and use of quarantine passes following a 400% increase in COVID-19 cases in the city. Public officials in Barangay 102, Caloocan City roamed around today to call on the public to get color-coded quarantine pass. Residents with orange quarantine pass will only be allowed to go to the markets and supermarkets from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and from 5 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. on Sunday. Residents with green quarantine pass will be allowed to enter markets and supermarkets from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and from 1:31 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Sunday. Those with white quarantine passes will be allowed depending on the nature and schedule of their work, the local government added. Curfew hours from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. will also be enforced. Only workers going to work or home are exempted.
Mamaya po magsisimula mga alas 12 po, mga alas 4. Yung mga mahuli pong mga curfew, ito-turn over po namin sa City Hall, tapos doon po sila matitikitan. Yung pagbayad naman po sa ticket nila, sa mga curfew, 3,000 po yan. Tapos po doon sa may mga walang face mask na mahuli namin, 1,000 po yan.
Malapitan also issued Executive Order number 009 series of 2021 encouraging the use of StaySafe.ph system as the official contact tracing system in public and private establishments in the city. And that is our latest live. Back to you, Harleen.
Thank you, JP Nunez, for that live report.
Meanwhile, the Philippines and the US-based drug maker Novavax are set to sign a supply agreement tomorrow for the 30 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine. According to Malacanang, the country has also signed the purchase order for the 1 million Sinovac vaccine supply expected to be delivered within the month. One dose of Sinovac is worth 700 pesos. Apart from this, the Philippines also has already signed a supply agreement with US-based manufacturer Moderna for the 13 million doses of its COVID-19 vaccines.
Meghan Markle has accused the royal family of raising concerns about how dark her son would be, while revealing she had been contemplating suicidal thoughts and considered self-harm during her pregnancy. Marvy Delphine will give us the details live. Marvy?
Steph, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex has given their first television interview with Oprah Winfrey on Sunday after stepping back from the British royal family a year ago. In the 2-hour broadcast, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle expressed their worry for the security of their son Archie and how the pressure of royal life began to take a toll on Meghan's mental health. Harry highlighted that their decision to step back as senior working royals was partly driven by the racism Meghan experienced, especially from the press, which turned on the former actress after an initial honeymoon period. Meghan told Oprah that she was deeply hurt by the way her son Archie was treated by members of the royal family and palace aides. While it was reported that before Archie was born in 2019 that his parents did not want him to have a royal title or security, Meghan said those decisions were made for her. Prince Harry did not publicly reveal who discussed his child's skin tone with him, but says the conversation has left him in a state of shock. However, Oprah later addressed the media to confirm that the remarks on Archie's skin color did not come from the Queen or Prince Philip. The couple has also revealed that their second child will be a girl. Buckingham Palace is yet to respond to the Oprah interview, and it is unclear how or if the royal family will release any kind of statement. Last month, Buckingham Palace confirmed that the couple would not return to royal duties and Harry would relinquish his honorary military titles. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were also stripped of their last remaining charitable positions. Steph?
All right, Marvy, thank you for that live report. 2 weeks since it first landed on the Red Planet, NASA's Perseverance rover made a new milestone as it took its first short drive on Mars. Charisse Lomboan reports.
It may be a short-distance test drive by the Perseverance rover of National Aeronautics and Space Administration or NASA, but the rover's mobility test on March 4th was considered successful and a real milestone by its engineers at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. The car-sized rover's test drive took about 33 minutes, wherein it propelled 4 meters forward, turned in place 150 degrees to the left, and backed up 2.5 meters into its new temporary parking area, covering a total distance of 6.5 meters. Perseverance rover can drive an average distance of 200 meters per day. According to Perseverance Mobility Test Bed engineer Anais Zarifian, the rover's 6-wheel drive responded superbly and they are now confident that their drive system is good to go. So far, the rover and its hardware, including its main robot arm, appear to be operating flawlessly, said Robert Hogg, Deputy Mission Manager. Engineers still have additional equipment checks to run on the rover's many instruments before they will be ready to send the robot on a more ambitious journey as part of its primary mission to search for traces of fossilized microbial life. Samples will eventually be returned to Earth by 2030s. Charisse Lomboan, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Swedish scientists have identified a method in which cotton in clothes can be developed into glucose molecules that can be reused. Early Briones reports.
Can old clothes be converted into sugar? Most of used clothes are donated actually end up in landfill or are incinerated. But new studies have proven that the revitalization of cotton to glucose is possible. Scientists in the Division of Chemical Engineering of Lund University, Sweden, are currently remodeling the structures of cotton in clothes through decomposition, where the products are then soaked in sulfuric acid to be converted into glucose. The outcome of an average cloth bundle that undergoes this conversion results in an orange-amber glucose solution, which amounts to 5 liters, equating to 33 sugar cubes. The lead researcher, Edwin Root, describes that glucose is convertible and has a multi-purpose use, detailing different outcomes like ethanol and material production. In the early stages of the experiment, only 3 to 4% glucose extraction was possible. However, 12 months into the project, glucose extraction increased to 90%.
One advantage with this is that we keep the value of the textile waste within the same value chain. So we help decrease the amount of waste that the textile industry produces at the same time as we also help to decrease the amount of raw material that the textile industry.
In the meantime, the researchers are heavily dependent on a building in Malmö, south of Sweden, where clothes are being grouped into donations or either for the glucose conversion process. Early Briones, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I'm Stephanie C., live from Hong Kong. Good evening.
Medical workers from the Dr. Jesus Delgado Memorial Hospital expressed their confidence to work after getting COVID-19 jabs. Janice Inhente will tell us why.
The number of medical frontliners at the Dr. Jesus Delgado Memorial Hospital or JDMH who wants to be vaccinated suddenly increased days after the government started its inoculation program. According to Joel Rodriguez, President and Chief Executive Officer of the hospital, they boosted the confidence of their employees to the vaccines.
We ran a survey as to who are interested. Ang baba ng level of interest. So up until the next 3 days, mababa yung level of interest namin. Sabi ko, the best way being a leader is make sure, and I cannot force
everyone to vaccinate themselves, but I can influence them.
After receiving the jobs, medical frontliners expressed their confidence to work.
Ay masayang-masaya ako na nabakunahan ako ngayon kasi talagang may kumpiyansa na ako sa sarili ko na humarap doon sa mga iba't ibang klase ng tao at gayon din sa mga pasyente. Kasi talagang feeling ko very protective na ako doon sa protected na ako doon sa paggawa ng ating mga trabaho dito sa hospital.
Syempre, magiging confident ka that soon I'm going to have this protection against the COVID-19. At least, meron tayong peace of mind na just in case magkaroon man tayo ng infection, meron tayong 100% protection. Still, I have to maintain and protect myself by wearing mask, social distancing, frequent hand washing, and also wearing mga protective personal equipment when doing procedures for my patient.
800 doses of Sinovac vaccine have been provided by the Department of Health for 400 JDMH employees.
Meron pa naman mga hindi nakalista, kagaya ng mga sekretaryo ng mga doktor. Siyempre na expose din sila sa mga pasyente. Kaya kung ano man ang merong matira, babahagi natin sa lahat ng mga pwedeng bigyan.
This week also, the AstraZeneca vaccines is expected to arrive at the said hospital, which will also be distributed to senior citizen employees and other personnel who prefer this brand. JDMH is one of UNTV's partner in helping our countrymen in need of medical assistance. Janice Inhente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And those are the reasons behind the news, March 9, 2021. I am Harleen Delgado.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I'm Angelo Castro III.
Because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people, we give glory to God.